Have you ever thought that once your resume finally reaches a recruiter, the hard part is over? Most people do. They think the next step is a phone call, an interview, and hopefully a job offer. But what if I told you that today's hiring process often includes several other steps where technology may be helping behind the scenes? Understanding those steps could completely change the way you prepare for your next opportunity. Now, here's something that completely changed the way I think about today's hiring process. According to a recent Time article, artificial intelligence is beginning to support much more than resume screening. In many organizations, technology is also helping with interview scheduling, candidate assessments, communication, and other administrative parts of the hiring process. That doesn't mean AI is making every hiring decision. It means technology is becoming part of a much larger hiring ecosystem, helping recruiters manage an increasingly complex process. When we hear that AI is becoming part of the hiring process, it's easy to jump to the conclusion that technology is replacing people. But that's not what most companies are trying to do. Think about how much the hiring process has changed over the past few years. Online job boards, one-click applications, and AI-powered tools have made it easier than ever for people to apply for jobs. As a result, recruiters aren't reviewing dozens of applications anymore. They're often dealing with hundreds or even thousands for a single opening. That's why many organizations are using AI to handle repetitive administrative tasks, allowing recruiters to spend more time doing what only people can do, evaluating experience, building relationships, conducting interviews, and making hiring decisions. The real story isn't that AI is replacing recruiters. The real story is that recruiters are learning how to work alongside AI to manage a hiring process that has become far more complex than it used to be. So, why does all of this matter to you? Because once you understand how today's hiring process really works, you stop focusing on trying to beat the system and start focusing on presenting yourself more effectively. Think about it. If AI is helping recruiters organize applications, schedule interviews, and manage communication, then your goal isn't to fight against technology, it's to make it easier for both technology and the recruiter to recognize the value you bring. That means writing a resume that's clear, relevant, and tailored to the position you're applying for. It means highlighting the skills and experience that truly match the job instead of sending the same generic resume everywhere. The more you understand the hiring process, the more strategic your job search becomes. Let me give you an example of what this can look like in the real world. Imagine two people apply for the exact same project coordinator position. Both have similar experience. Both have managed schedules, coordinated teams, and worked with budgets. But one resume clearly uses the same language and skills the employer is looking for. The other uses different wording, even though the experience is just as strong. A recruiter might recognize that both candidates are qualified during an interview, but before that interview ever happens, technology is simply trying to organize information and identify the strongest matches based on what the employer requested. That's why small changes in how you describe your experience can make a big difference. It's not about changing who you are, it's about communicating your qualifications in a way that's easier for today's hiring process to understand. Here's what I hope you remember. Artificial intelligence isn't replacing every recruiter, and it isn't making every hiring decision. What it is doing is changing the way the hiring process works. The good news is that the more you understand that process, the better prepared you'll be to navigate it successfully. Don't spend your time worrying about how to outsmart AI. Spend your time learning how to clearly communicate your experience, your skills, and the value you bring to an organization. Technology will continue to evolve. Hiring practices will continue to change. But one thing remains the same. Organizations are still looking for talented people who can solve problems, work with others, and make a positive impact. The more you understand today's hiring process, the more confident you'll become, not because you've learned a shortcut, but because you've learned how to present your qualifications more effectively. And that's an advantage no technology can take away. If today's video helped you better understand the changing hiring process, I hope you'll subscribe so you don't miss future videos on AI, hiring trends, leadership, and the future of work. And if you know someone who's feeling frustrated with their job search or wondering why they're not getting interviews, please share this video with them. One new insight could completely change the way they approach their next opportunity. Thank you for being part of the Genesis 2050 community. Together, we're learning how to navigate the future of work with confidence, one insight at a time. Until next time, remember, don't just apply, investigate.